Hello, I'm Bret Moss, and you're watching The Defining Moment for Creating the Culture of Conscience. Our guest today is Brooks Palmer. Brooks is the author of the newly released book, Clutter Busting, Letting Go of What's Holding You Back. For the past 10 years, Brooks has been transforming lives, assisting his clients in clearing out their clutter. Brooks is also a stand-up comedian who regularly performs in Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York. Don't be fooled by the fact that he's a professional comedian. Brooks takes his clutter busting very seriously. Brooks Palmer, welcome to The Defining Moment. I'm really thrilled to have you here as a guest today.
Thanks, Bret. It's good to be here.
Thanks for coming. Our topic today is releasing your divine nature from the prison you have built. And I'd like to begin by inviting you to share a defining moment from your own life.
Absolutely. When I was going to college and I was studying art, and before then I tended to be kind of a slob. I leave things on the floor, pile things up on the desk. I didn't really think about it or care that much about it. When I was a kid, my mom used to try to get me to pick my clothes up off the floor and kind of yell at me, Take that,
as mothers do, right?
Yeah. And the yelling didn't help. I think it actually made me want to just keep it there more, And I learned early on that whenever you tell someone what to do, they often do the opposite.
Yes.
And the louder you tell them, the more...
Which is where reverse psychology sometimes can help, right?
Yeah, if she had said, wow, that looks beautiful, the artwork on the floor, I would have been, oh, okay, tidy it up, make it look better. But in college, it was that I had these art classes, and one of my teachers in one of the first classes, he goes, your work surface is really important, and whatever you can do to keep it clean is going to be great, because that makes your work flow that much easier and all these new ideas come to you. And it went right in, and I felt it. I thought, yeah, this is a good thing. And then I just, from that point on, it became a part of my life. I didn't try to make it a part of my life. It just felt like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. What is the core essence of a human being?
Core essence? I think just that sense of self, that sense of awareness that people have. Just their sense of their awareness of their feelings, the awareness of the things in their environment. And it's real simple. I don't think it has any many attributes. And I think our personality is kind of layered on top of it, and our proclivities, things we like and dislike, are layered on top of it. But there's that essential I amness, I guess, that people have when they're 3 or when they're 90. There's that sense of myself that doesn't have to do with how you look. The essential sense of presence that most familiar part of ourselves is always there. We don't have to maintain it. It doesn't change, because as long as we're alive and conscious, my experience is that that's always there, and things around me are constantly changing.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the classic ways in which even successful human beings imprison themselves?
Classic ways, yes. Yeah. There's a lot of them. I think, probably resistance to change is one of them. I think what happens is a lot of times we, and I could say this from my own experience, we get used to things being a certain way and we like them. Maybe it feels good, there's a nice flow to them, but then they change. And there's a bit of nostalgia there. It's like you don't want to let it go. And that inflexibility causes a lot of distress and unhappiness, and things are going to change anyway. So, so that resistance it screws up a lot of people's lives, and things are changing all the time anyway, every single second, maybe little increments, sometimes bigger increments, and so I think that can wreak some havoc on a person, and the hard part is sometimes it's difficult to not want to stop things from changing, especially when you really like them. And so hopefully that period between resistance and acceptance is not too long,
Okay.
I mean, I think what happens is in our minds, this is another downfall I noticed that happens to people, is in our minds we have this ideal of how things should be.
Yes.
Like, this is the way they should be because we read about it or we've seen somebody else do it.
We call those expectations.
Yeah. And, we've seen somebody talk about it on television or read it in a book, or just have this fixed ideal maybe based on movies, or maybe it's a collection of everything we've ever seen. And so, that's in the mind. And then there's what happens. There's what is. And so I heard once there's the distance between what is and how we, think things should be is a degree of suffering, because, what is not movable in the moment, and how we think things should be is.
Okay.
So a lot of times my clients will go like, I hate that this is happening. This should never have happened. A lot of times people go, why is this happening? My clients, why? And you can never really answer a why question. So sometimes acceptance of what is a nice thing if that comes in, if that agitation stops, and there's a sensation like, okay, well, this is how things are.
And that can also be applied to relationships as well, accepting people as they are, yes?
Yeah, that's a great thing if you can do it. I mean, it's hard. It's again, I think we have these natural ways of how we want things to be, and things that we like, and things that we dislike.
Superimpose those on people as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think that there's life as it's happening, and then there's like these billions of like interpretations of what's actually happening. And if by some miracle you and somebody else actually connect, there's a connection, you can talk about things and there's a flow, what an amazing thing.
Yes.
Because you're two different people with two different viewpoints.
Yeah. So what are some of the other classic ways in which people imprison themselves?
A lot of times I'll hear people just be really mean to themselves. Why did I do this? I mean, like, again, going back to why, but it's like, I'm a bad person. I can't believe I screwed up like this. I'm such an idiot. I mean, these are really smart people. And I've said that to myself too. I'm like, God, I'm so stupid. Why did I do that? And I hear that from all my clients.
So what is the impact on a person when they say those things to themselves and believe that
it's like
the
punching
truth?
yourself in the heart, really hard. The most delicate part of yourself, punching it unprotected because it's coming from inside of yourself, And that's what it's like. When people do that, their face goes ashen, and their eyes, like the brightness in their eyes goes away, and they look sickly, and they're usually like this, or they're like this, And
So how do
anguish.
you assist people in transcending that?
I just say, you know what, you're being really mean to yourself, Would you cut it out? I joke about it. I say, I'm going to have to charge you more for that because I don't want to see that. I mean, I point it out in a lighthearted way,
Yes.
as opposed to don't do that,
Yes.
It's like, that's clutter because punishment is not a good motivator. It never has been, and people, if you put somebody else down, they're going to shrink and they're not going to rise to the occasion, generally speaking,
Yeah.
So, imagine you're your own best friend, right? Because you're with you all the time, and you're like, constantly, because I think people do it all day long in a lot of ways. If you're in the midst of it, like going like, God, I'm such an idiot, and like, oh, wow. That just recognizing it starts to change it.
So becoming aware of it is the first step.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily going, okay, I'm a great person. If that comes up. But I think it's just like, wow, okay,
Isn't that interesting, that type of thing, right?
Yeah, and then 2 seconds later, you may be going like, God, I'm such an idiot. And then maybe you'll catch it again, because it's insidious. It's a habit that's become natural, and you don't even think that it's bad until today, and you're watching this show.
Okay.
And we're talking about it.
Great, okay, very good. Any other ways that people imprison themselves that you'd like to mention?
Sometimes I encounter people feeling like they need to be a certain level of success to be okay.
Yes.
Like when I've done this, I'm okay.
Yes.
It could be like when I'm married, I'm okay. Or when I'm getting paid this much, I'm okay. Or when I have a house, I'm okay. And so what I notice is that when people do accomplish the things that they really want to do, there's just another thing that comes in its path, like, oh, I want to do this, or I need to do this, And I think a lot of people spend a lot of their lives generally feeling like they're, basing their success on what they've done or what they have in their lives.
Someday I'll be happy when X happens.
Yeah, it could be like when I have that dress or that suit or whatever. It could be like having certain things when I have that Xbox or TV.
And once you do get that Xbox or the house or the Mercedes, how long does that happiness usually last for people?
About 60 seconds, maybe 30, sometimes 12. I think because it's...
So someone might wait 20 years for that goal to be reached, postponing all their happiness for that goal, and it lasts for 60 seconds, you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you can count it. Like, you go into the store's exciting. It's built in a way to make you happy. People that you don't know are going, how can I help you? I want to be your friend. Can I help you?
Right.
And there's all these nice bright lights and music playing, and it's like it's an altered experience. They spend lots of money to do that. And then you're like, you buy this thing, and it's like you put it on, and it's like, wow, this is new. It's like it's exciting. And then and then you spend this money, and then you're driving home, and it's a natural, like, we acclimate to things. So it's a part of our nature. We have to acclimate in order to function. So there's this like, okay, this is part of my life now. Okay, there's other parts of my life. I'm including it with it, and then it just becomes a part of our life. So it's short-lived.
Isn't it interesting that children are kind of naturally happy, and as we grow up, as they grow up, they become less and less happy.
They become miserable. Become miserable adults.
Yes.
Really nice people, but miserable because we've been conditioned,
Well, like say, imprisoned in a sense.
Yeah,
by our own lives.
But I wanted to make a really good point
Yes.
here, is that it's not a conscious imprisonment,
Right.
And because I don't want people feeling bad, like, oh, I've done this to myself.
No, it's completely unconscious.
It's built into the fibers of society.
Yes.
It's like you need to do these things to
and
get
we're
joy.
born into it, so there's not like any chance to really even be forewarned necessarily.
Yeah. Well, I visited some friends a couple days ago, and they had a 10-month-old, and I was sitting on the floor playing with them, and the 10-month-old was just really happy. He just like, found a toy and played with it till it was like, all right, and then it was just happy. There's just happiness. And I notice that when people get rid of this clutter, which is anything that's no longer serving them, then they start to feel happier. And when we're done with that clutter busting session, they're really happy. It's not like, I'm happy, but it's just this like, God, I feel really good. I feel lighter.
Yeah.
I feel really peaceful.
There's a tranquility. Almost.
Yeah, it's peace of mind, tranquility, and it's basically their essential nature that just had a chance to stick its head out of the ground and feel the sunshine, so to speak.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. So tell us a little bit more about some of the pernicious beliefs, myths, or falsehoods that allow human beings to sabotage their own happiness and aliveness.
There's this belief that people, I think that they feel like they're bad in some ways or another. In some religions they talk about it as sin.
Yes.
are bad, and then they feel the need to prove themselves or to do something to prove their worth.
Yes.
And when I go into people's homes, I never feel that they're bad. And oftentimes they'll go like, am I your worst client? And they're really embarrassed and they mean it. And when people are in their homes, they're really honest because they're not out in the world. They're more intimate in their homes.
Yes.
So all this like, oh, I'm just such a horrible person, come out, And I think that people are generally really great, just as they are. And so a lot of my job is just helping them remember that, like we recognize that, And I think because I see them that way and I treat them that way, they start to unravel this stuff that's the binding, like barbed wire they put around themselves to limit, because they're so embarrassed or humiliated or upset at themselves. And that starts to fall off like naturally. And then they start to become real people again without having to do that much.
Yeah.
But I think the book really motivates that. And I think by our talking about it and your show, it's like these are just ways of helping people to see like maybe things are really okay right now. you know.
Maybe there's some hope.
Yeah, or maybe right now there's like good stuff, you know, because there's always going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Or there's always going to be some limitation that shows itself and goes, look at this, you know.
Yes.
And the person can either latch onto it to find another reason why they're bad, you know, or they can go, well, that's how it is right now, but I'm still like alive, you know, and I'm functioning and I really want to enjoy my life. So
good. And as you said before, there's a sacredness to each and every human being.
Mm-hmm.
There's a spark of divinity in each one of them. I mean, it goes even beyond that I'm just simply
It's
alive.
an inferno of divinity.
An inferno of
People
divinity.
are infernos, yeah. They're huge. They're really, I mean, they're like waves in the ocean. So I see them as, that's what they are. They're just this constantly big,
magnificent
flowing wave. Yeah.
entities.
Whatever they're doing, you know, whatever they're doing is this flow of consciousness or energy of God. It's just, and it's got that vitality in it, you know. And so even with their foibles and falling down, it's like we all do, it's like there's still this beautiful aspect to it underneath it, you know,
okay, beautiful.
propelling it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Outline for our viewers a pathway which could give them access to freeing themselves from their suffering, ineffectiveness, complacency, or sense of helplessness about their own lives.
Oh, maybe we don't even need a path, you know? Maybe it's just like, this is where we are right now. Like you and I are sitting here and we're talking, you know? And inherent in this is, it's nice. It's like, it's great to be here. It's just, and so if I start getting into like, well, I got to sell a book, or I got to like, you know, say something that's going to have an impact on people, or I have to say something that's funny, you know, or what can I do to let go of those things? It's not that. There's just this really great sense of presence in this. Or when I'm out walking around the beach, or I'm standing in line somewhere, it's like, I think a lot of times there's this feeling like I need to get from here to here. But the thing is, once a person gets there, there's still this distance because there's this habit of going, I need to get somewhere. In order to, right? Yeah, in order to what? Fill in the blank, right? Mm-hmm. Probably be happy or to be fulfilled.
So you're alluding, I believe you're alluding to the power of being in the moment, being in the present.
Yeah.
And enjoying being right here, right now.
Yeah, and I don't think that even needs to be something that needs to be done either.
Yeah.
Because you could be thinking about the past or the future or something clouding about right now, but you're still here, you know?
Yes.
And so it's like, all right, so what? I just spent 3 minutes thinking about what am I going to do later, you know? Mm-hmm. So I don't really want to like clobber myself for that because I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm in the moment, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, it's
sometimes we have to plan for the future.
Yeah, we have to, you know. So I just think in ways of what's really nice about this, you know. Yeah. Is there a problem rather than what is the problem right now, you know? Whatever comes up that makes it that much easier. Because the future's never here, it's always this, you know.
Yes.
So it's like when this happens, or you know, when I work on myself enough to do this, and I find people can be really mean with themselves with spiritual books. Like I've had clients with lots of those, you know, different books on how to be a better you or whatever. But there's always that me here, and this is where I want to be. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm bad here, I suck here, and I'm like here. This would be better, you know. Okay. But there's never a better, you know.
But at the same time, you're an expert at clutter busting, and right. you provide an amazing service to your clients. So that, in a sense, provides a pathway for it's what I don't know. Maybe pathway is not the right word, but it's certainly there's an opportunity in the work that you do.
Yeah.
For people to free themselves.
Well, clutter busting I've found to be very effective because it takes you right where you are right now, and you look at your environment right now, and you look around and you see what's not part of this anymore. Excuse me, what's no longer interesting to me, or what's no longer vital to me, what no longer assists me, you know. And right now, and looking around and seeing like, oh yeah, that I don't read that anymore, or that I don't wear that anymore, or I don't listen to that CD, or I don't really watch. I'm not interested in that DVD anymore, or that piece of furniture. I don't sit there anymore. I don't really enjoy it, So you're looking at what's going on right now and seeing what's important to you, and then you go, all right, then I'm going to let it go, and you bring it to a charity place, or if it's busted, you throw it out, and then you just enhance your life that much more. And so I like it because it's a technique that you can use in the moment, and it increases the happiness very quickly within a few seconds.
So you encourage people to do that with everything they have in their lives, in a sense.
Everything. Yeah, it's like, okay, what friends make me really tired that I feel obligated to hang out with, And what activities do I do that I just don't enjoy anymore, or maybe I never did, What foods am I eating, perhaps, that I'm supposed to eat because but I don't enjoy them.
And at the same time, with all the belongings that they have, yes?
All the belongings, yeah. Everything.
So you literally, when you're assisting a client, you take a tour of their house.
Yeah, I walk through their entire house
or apartment.
Yeah,
wherever they happen to live.
And yeah, I walk through and they tell me that, basically they're a barometer. When I walk through, I can tell based on how they're reacting to how they feel about it. And then I pick the worst area, like the area that makes them the most uncomfortable.
Yes.
We start right in.
So sometimes clients say, this room is off limits.
And that's the room we work in. And the more adamant about no, the more adamant they are about my not working in that room, then that's the room we're going to end up working in.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a doctor, It's like, this really hurts, but I want you to take care of this,
Yes.
Let's take care of this. So this will feel better. And then,
And then everything else feels better.
Yeah.
As a result of that.
Yeah, so it's really about what can I do to make myself feel happier right now.
What's the reason why there might be so much clutter?
Oh, well, that differs. The reasons I don't always know. Sometimes people tell me stuff that's going on in their life, Sometimes they don't reveal that much. And so, but whatever it is, there's a strain. There's a feeling of strain in the house.
Constraint.
Yeah, it's like the person feels constricted. And
they might call it stress, or
yeah, you could call it that. And there's they're inhibited in some kind of way, and they usually seem diminished. They seem like they're a balloon that's kind of not filled up with air as much as it could be. So I just start asking questions about things just to get things moving again, because it's a stagnant feeling, and that thickness of immovability.
What kinds of questions do you ask?
Well, I just like, for this, because we like talking about this, I just go, well, do you like this? Or can we let it go? So it doesn't, and there's no maybe. Sometimes people go, well, can we put it in a maybe? That means no, Like, you just think of anything. You like doing this show. So that's a sense of certainty, like, yes, I like doing this. And so people can think of something they like doing that means something to them. And then you can use that as a gauge. And if something is not at that level, or, close to it, then it's clutter. If we were in a store today, would you buy this? It really brings it down to, like, right now. Because otherwise people are going to see it and, like, oh, so-and-so gave this to me, And a lot of times people will go, I'll go, do you like this? They'll go, no. Can we get rid of it? They'll go, no. I'll go, why? Well, my mother-in-law gave it to me, but you don't like it, right? I know, but what if she comes over and wants to see it? It's like, how often do people do that? And it's in your house. And anything that you recognize is causing, that you don't enjoy, if it was in a store, you certainly wouldn't pay for it. If there was a shirt that didn't fit you and it was a color you didn't like, and it was a design that was just terrible, would you buy it? Like, no. But if someone gave it to you, people oftentimes feel the need to hang on to it. So it's really going, all right, this is my house and this is my life, and I want to take care of myself.
And what you said previously or earlier, you said that when people do let that clutter go, they're left with
they always feel better. Isn't that funny? You know, it's like, it's the reverse of what we're taught. And this doesn't mean getting rid of everything, because there's going to be things that you like. And things will go, and then new things will come into your life that you enjoy. So there may be a shirt that you've been wearing 3 years, and you've really enjoyed it, but it just doesn't fit you anymore emotionally. Or maybe it's just tired in a sense.
It might be out of style or whatever.
Yeah, or how you feel about it.
Yeah.
It's like, do you still like it? Because, you know, when you were a kid, you like certain things you don't like now. And so, you know, 3 years goes by, or sometimes a year goes by, and you're, you know, or sometimes people will buy stuff because they're not feeling very good. So they go to the store to feel better. And, but then they buy it and it doesn't make them really feel better. Once they get home, it sits home and it has a tag on it still. So a lot of times clients have clothes or things that they bought to feel better in their home. And when questioned, they realize they don't like it. And sometimes they'll go, I go, can you let it go? No. Do you like it? No. Why do you want to hang on to it? Because I spent a lot of money on it, you know. But you don't like it. I know, but I spent a lot of money on it, so I think I should hang on to it. You know, it's like, it's so funny to hear that stuff. So you're gonna not like it, and you don't like it, and you're gonna keep it in your house. And anyway, you just
and you're saying having it there is in a way almost kind of like sucking out your happiness in some sense. I mean, I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
Yeah, because imagine if you're walking around all day with this, like a stone in your shoe, you know? It's going to bother you. And maybe it's not like a nail in your foot, but it's a stone. It bothers you. It's a small thing, but all day long, you know? So that's what it's like. This is like the thing that you don't like in your house is a stone in your shoe that over time wears you out, makes you don't really want to come home maybe. Or when you're home, not really relaxed. And then you go back into the world again and you're not rested. And so you got a lot of people that are exhausted that don't even recognize anymore because they're exhausted. You know, your clarity's diminished, and then you just wonder why you're unhappy, you know. So it's kind of like really making an assessment of the things in your life, in your environment, and just asking questions, and maybe giving it a chance to let it go.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you very much. How can our viewers get a hold of your book, Clutter Busting?
The book you can get on either Amazon.com, or you can go to Barnes & Noble or Borders. They have it. And they go to my website, which is clutterbustinging.com. And there's an area that you can go to that you can order it from the publisher, New World Library.
Okay, great. Brooks Palmer, thank you so much for having been our guest today. It's really been fascinating. It's really been educational. And
Yeah,
I've really
Bret.
enjoyed everything you've had to say. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Bret. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. You've been watching The Defining Moment for Creating the Culture of Conscience. You can find us on the internet at www.definingmoment.tv. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.